something I can touch and hold and show you, hey, this is self-esteem. Right? It's a good question. Again, I bolded some words in case your eyes get tired. So when children feel good about themselves, it sets themselves up for success. If I don't feel good about myself, I'm not going to be successful. I have to see myself as capable, right? Capable, effective, and accepted to be successful and also to be productive. Positive feelings, good feelings, like self-acceptance or self-confidence, will encourage people to try new things, make mistakes, and try again. How many of you are hard on yourselves when you make a mistake? And how many of you, when you make a mistake, won't try again? Okay. Thank you for your honesty. Knowing that you can do it eventually is having more positive self-esteem. And you can. I would encourage you that if you make mistakes, challenge yourself and keep trying to be successful. Is it normal to make mistakes? Yes. You might be like, Christina, well, I make more mistakes than the average person. I'm going to be like, dude, right there with you. I do too. No worries. We all make mistakes. We're not perfect. So don't hold yourself to a standard of perfection, because if you say, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be perfect and I made a mistake, I'm a loser, I'm just going to not try anymore. Where are you getting? You're not getting anywhere. And you're going to have low self-esteem the rest of your life, and you're likely not going to be very successful. Do you guys want to be successful? Anyone not want to be successful? Okay, good news. So, working on that self-acceptance and self-confidence. I did get one question about confidence, which will be addressed later in the presentation. So kids with low self-esteem might feel unsure of themselves and give in to peer pressure. So what are some examples of peer pressure? Drugs. What kind of drugs? Marijuana. That's a popular one these days. Huh? I can't hear you. Cocaine? Wow, that's a hard drug. Marijuana is a gateway drug, meaning if you start with marijuana, it's innocent, it's natural, it's good for you. That's all a myth. This is not a talk about drugs, and if you guys want to talk about drugs, I know an addiction expert. He can come talk to you guys. He actually studies drugs with mice and rats and how it affects their brains. It's actually very fascinating. But marijuana is something called a gateway drug, meaning if you start with marijuana, you're likely to do harder drugs like cocaine and heroin, stuff like that. Yes? If that's your personal view, I'm going to talk to your servants and have the addiction expert come talk to you guys, because that's a myth, essentially. Yeah, so the definition of peer pressure is when you are encouraged or forced to do something that's outside of your comfort zone. So that's why it came after kids with low self-esteem might feel unsure about themselves. They don't know their values. They don't know what they stand for. So when an opportunity comes to do drugs, okay, let me try it. No big deal. They don't know what they really want. Hey, send me a picture of whatever, ... fill in the blank. I don't have self-esteem. I don't really know what my values are. I'm going to give in to peer pressure because I don't really know who I am or what my value is. If I know my value, why would I cheapen myself and send a picture of myself? It doesn't make sense. If I know my value, why am I going to bully others? If I know my value, fill in the blank. So that's why it's important to understand these things and know yourself and work on yourself so that you're not put in these silly positions, end up getting in trouble, and set yourself up for disaster and failure. Make sense? Any other examples of peer pressure? So I know some of you are tempted to say, oh my gosh, sometimes I try to talk to my parents about this and they just don't understand. How many of you feel that way? I still feel that way. I'm not going to tell you it's going to go away, but I am going to tell you that if you know yourself and you know your values and your family values, a lot of these conversations will be a lot easier. So if you say, hey, Mom, I want a boyfriend, I need to know my value. What value is that to just some guy that's going to go away in 6 months? So know your value, know what you are worth. And think of yourself, did Christ die on the cross for me to get into drugs? So just think, he died for us, yes, and we attain salvation, but we have to think, is it worth it? Is this worth my salvation? Is this worth the price of Christ's blood? The answer is probably no, right? Well, the answer is definitely no. Not 50-50. I got a question as to what causes low self-esteem, and this is my favorite slide. Hey. Are you waving at me, or are you telling me that you asked this question? All right, cool. So what causes low self-esteem? Many things cause low self-esteem, and I'm glad someone asked. Early childhood experiences. Some of you are kind of going into childhood or adolescence. It's okay. Some of the experiences that you're going through right now are shaping your life, are going to shape who you are going to shape who you are going to be. And if you could take care of them now instead of 30 years from now, you'll be solid. But early childhood experiences such as bullying, family, coaches, teachers, friends. And I put joking here because someone asked, if you joke around with someone, how is that going to affect your self-esteem and to what extent? So behind every joke, there's a little bit of truth. It's usually pretty true. People make jokes about people's sexuality. Maybe a guy comes off as a little girly, so he'll be bullied for that, accused of being gay or whatever. I'm not saying that there is truth, there is being gay, but you are impacting that person's worldview when you make such a comment. So I would encourage you not to joke. I played basketball in high school, and this was so terrible, I was just thinking about this. We used to call each other ugly, like, hey, ugly. Or sometimes I'll scroll through Instagram and I'll see some of my Sunday school kids, and it's this gorgeous selfie of this girl, which we're going to talk about selfies later. Gorgeous selfie, and someone commented, oh my gosh, so ugly. And they're best friends. I'm like, that makes no sense. So don't do it. Just do not do it. Again, if you are on the receiving end of that, hey girls, you're like super distracting me. Sorry, thanks. Golden, 1 second. 1 second. If you're on the receiving end of that, do not tolerate it, or DM your friend and be like, hey, I know you were joking about calling me ugly, but I don't appreciate that. Oh, hey, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I can take it down. But Sunday school servant who's watching this doesn't always know, and they think there are problems with their kids. Sure, but deep down inside, it still affects you. Even though you're convinced it doesn't, there's a reason. Why are they calling you ugly? Try to think of that. Why are you calling them ugly? What's the purpose of that? What's the reasoning behind it? There is no and if there is no purpose or reasoning, then don't do it. Again, we're going to be held accountable for everything we say. Do you guys have that much time on your hands to just comment you're ugly on someone's photo? No. I mean, maybe you do have that much time on your hands, but that's not the best use of your time or any use of your time. Do you have a question? If they're fake friends. Okay. Does anyone have a good answer for that as to why someone would call someone else ugly on a gorgeous selfie? Inside joke? DM it. Keep it on the inside. Don't put it where everyone can see it when they're scrolling. Yeah. The other person knows it's a joke? I know, but like I just said, deep down inside, they may be affected by it. And not everyone else knows it's a joke. So someone else can see it as a type of bullying. So don't do it, moral of the story. And I have nothing to gain by telling you to not do it. I want you all to have healthy and fantastic self-esteem. That's my goal. My goal isn't to get you to delete your Instagram account or to stop Snapchat. I don't care. I just care about your self-esteem. Okay? Media and social media. So there have been studies done most recently. There's an increase of 25% of teens are experiencing depression and anxiety after spending any time on social media, whether it's 10 minutes a day or 3 hours a day. And if we were to actually track how much time we spend on social media, it would probably be really embarrassing. When you wake up in the morning, you Instagram, and at school you Snapchat, and later you are on YouTube. Did I just describe someone's daily routine? That's some of my Sunday school kids. That's where I got my info from. Cyberbullying is a real thing. And kids, there was like a huge case recently of this kid that killed himself as a result of cyberbullying. And, you know, there could be more than one that don't make it to the news. So just seeing someone else's amazing life can make you feel bad about yourself. I'm going to use some examples in my life. If I see everyone that's graduated around me and I'm struggling in school, that can hurt me a little bit. Or someone that's going on vacation and takes a picture of their passport and say, hey, I off for this summer, and I can't leave the country, or I don't have money to travel. Those are very real things. Even though I'm just scrolling, everyone posts, I shouldn't say everyone, most people post when they're having a great day. At the beach today, so much fun, and they take a picture of their bikini body. I'm not going to try to pretend like I have a bikini body. But that's a real thing. People take these pictures and they post it. People rarely, it happens sometimes with girls, oh, having a terrible day. But rarely do people say, having a terrible day. Rarely. And usually they post it, they want some attention, they need some assistance, they need some help at that moment. DM them, text them, whatever, and say, hey, what's going on? I saw your email post. Okay? So even though it seems innocent, oh, I just posted a picture of Palm Sunday, there's no big deal. Some people can't celebrate Palm Sunday and they feel bad. You know, if they're working a shift or something, they're at work and they can't participate. So keep in mind that what you post impacts others, and what you see, the information that comes to you, impacts you and your self-esteem. Okay? I hate this one, comparing yourselves to others. This is so annoying. There's always going to be someone that has more money than you. There's always going to be someone that has better grades than you. There's always going to be someone that has more friends than you. And always friends that have cooler parents than you. That is the truth. That's the truth. Maybe you have the cool parents, which is pretty cool. I had strict parents, so it was easy to find. I'm sorry? Okay. Comparing yourselves to others makes you feel like you're not good enough, like you didn't do enough. But part of self-esteem is accepting yourself where you are. And if you're not happy where you are, figure out how to improve it. Don't feel hopeless and like, oh my gosh, I'm just screwed the rest of my life because my parents aren't cool or because I have really low grades. Guess what? You can work on that. You can. Questions about that? So kids who have low self-esteem often feel self-critical and are hard on themselves. They often feel insecure. Someone mentioned insecurity about a bully earlier. They focus on times they fail rather than times they succeed, because failure takes up more of our brain space, so it's harder for us to think of times we succeeded versus times we failed. I will never forget the classes that I failed. I failed one stats class in college. I'll never forget that. But I will not remember all the A's that I got in college to earn me a 3-point whatever GPA. Kids who have low self-esteem often lack confidence. And they also doubt their ability to do things well. Some of you might identify with some of these feelings, and that's okay. And maybe if you don't identify it with now, maybe you'll identify it in other high school kids or something. That are going through that, maybe a sibling or maybe a parent. But know that just because you have unfortunate things or bad things happen in your life, that's not the end of the world. You can still turn it around, and I want to give you hope that you can turn it around. Questions about this? So what does low self-esteem look like? These are common feelings that people your age might report feeling. I'm unlovable, I'm not good enough, I'm boring, I'm a bad person, I'm stupid, I'm ugly, I'm worthless, I'm abnormal. Was it kind of powerful when I said that out loud? These are things we tell ourselves in our head, but we'll never say out loud. But once I say it out loud, you're like, oh, yeah, that's a real thing. People really feel that way. And I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands if you've ever felt this way, because I can see it on some of your faces. But something I do want to point out, and parents in the room, forgive me, this is more used as an educational piece. Sometimes parents will berate or degrade their kids and say, Yahmar, or, yeah, I mean, I don't know. My parents don't really talk to me in Arabic, so I can't come up with really good ones. But you guys know what I mean? Okay. So parents will sometimes say things that's totally inappropriate and uncalled for. And I want to shake these parents and say, do you realize that the messages you're sending your kids now are the messages they're going to be sending each other the rest of their lives? Example, kind of related to self-esteem. We all know that, like, oh, if you get a 99% on a test, hey, that's pretty good. I got a 99%. I got an A. That's awesome. You take it home to mama and baba. Tab fin el 1%. Parents don't realize that they're sending their messages, you're not good enough. 99, perfect, pretty perfect, is not good enough. I want to shake these parents and say, hey, look at the 99 they got right. Let's focus on the positive. Let's focus on the good. And I will admit, that is a fault in our culture. And you're probably like, yeah, you need to preach to the parents. I get it. I'd love to preach that to the parents. I'll just shake them up on the way in and out. But it's important to know that even if your parents are like that, I want you to focus on the good that you're doing. Don't fall into the trap of, I'm not good enough. I'm a bad person. I'm abnormal. I'm not studying enough. Maybe you aren't studying enough. Maybe you need to work on it. But maybe if that's more on the tail end of the grades. Does that make sense? Same thing. Our friends will tell us these comments. Oh my gosh, don't you have any new clothes? And you don't feel like you're good enough. I'm going to separate you. You just move over. You too. I get more space. Thank you. So when friends say mean things to each other, like clothes, for example, that's something that you're allowed to tell your friend, hey, I don't appreciate you making comments like that. Because then we're going to have things like, I'm not good enough, I'm worthless. Okay? Do you guys understand this part? Do you have any questions about it? No? How can I increase my self-esteem? Can you guys read this? So it's a doctor with like a little boy. You know, he has a stethoscope. He says, it appears you suffer from insecurity, loneliness, and low self-esteem. I suggest you post a daily selfie pic for strangers online until you feel better. Some of you got that. Some of you it's still processing. Some of us become so obsessive of how many likes or how many views or how many followers we have, and we're so obsessed with that. I have one of my Sunday school kids has a YouTube channel, and he just hit like 5,000 followers not too long ago, and he was like celebrating that. And I was like, man, I wish you would have celebrated something that like actually means something in the long term. Not to jab anyone who has a YouTube video here, or YouTube channel here. But it's true. What does a stranger mean to you? Think of how many of you have been to Disneyland? Okay. Think of how many strangers you passed by in Disneyland. Do you care about any of them? No. Even if you saw someone you kind of knew from school, but you're not going to go out of your way to say hi to them, do you care about them? No. Why do we care about how many likes we get, or how many views, or how many comments, or how many followers we have? It's truly meaningless. I hate to say that, but it's truly meaningless. It does not mean anything to you. You're not going to go to heaven one day, God willing, we all make it there. You know what, Jesus? I had a few followers back in my day. And he's going to be like, I had more, get over it. He's not going to say that. But truly, is it going to matter? It's not going to matter. Why do we let it occupy so much of our time? I posted a picture, and then, I can't even wait. 2 seconds later, oh, did my best friend like it? Okay, 2 seconds later, oh my gosh, how come I only have 3 likes? That's unusual. Maybe it wasn't good enough. Maybe I was ugly in that picture. Maybe it was not the perfect Insta photo. Oh my gosh, that person didn't view my snap. Maybe they don't have their phone with them. Was it a bad snap? I don't snap, so it's hard for me to come up with more things than that. But truly, really consider what you post and why you post it. Because it's funny? It's fun? Maybe for some people. But think about, again, the impact it has on you and your obsessive checking for likes. And think about what it means. Why are you trying to show people the world the best selfie ever? It doesn't matter. They see you every day. They know you don't look like that. Right? So kids who have healthy self-esteem, so we talked about low self-esteem and unhealthy self-esteem up until now. What does healthy self-esteem look like? People feel valued and accepted, and they know their worth. They feel confident, and they know that they could do what's expected. They feel proud of a job well done. They're able to recognize, remember what I said about the 99%? You're able to see 99% as really, really good. Even if I change that to 94, or I should change that to 89%, because it's on the border between an A and a B, and maybe it's a B plus if the teacher will round up. But still see that that's a really good grade, and you should be proud of yourself. You think good things about yourself if you have healthy self-esteem, and you feel prepared for everyday challenges. Remember, they feel effective and capable. Questions about that? I'm not going to do that. And then one more question that I got was, how can I be confident in myself? I don't know if you can read it. It says, spoiler alert, social media is not the answer. Ways to improve self-esteem and confidence. So say, Christina, that was cool. I understand what bad self-esteem is. I just needed you to talk to my parents and we're golden. No, parents play some role, but you play a huge role in your own self-esteem. So let's talk about some ways to improve it, and by the same way, foster some self-confidence. Gentlemen in the back. Gentlemen in the back. Can you move over one chair, please? Thank you. So, ways to improve your self-esteem and your confidence is to know your value in Christ. So one of my favorite verses is 1 Corinthians 6:20. I'm blanking on it. Know that you're, I don't know why I'm blanking on it. I don't know what I did. It's glorify, do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit? Therefore glorify God in your body and your spirit, which are God's. Thank you. So you are Christ's. Your body, your being, is for Him. Keep that in mind when you're posting, know your value, know who you are, because you are Christ's production. And if you see yourself as Christ's production, you're going to have different conversations, you're going to spend your time differently, and hang out with different people. Create boundaries for yourself. That's a way to improve self-esteem. If I just let myself hang out with anyone and I just spend my time with whomever, I'm just letting myself go to wherever the wind will take me. And that's not really helpful for me. You should surround yourself with positive, productive people, people who build you up, not tear you down, even if they joke. Create a gratitude journal. This is the #1 thing you can do to improve your feelings. If you're feeling sad or depressed or anxious, a gratitude journal is a good example. So do you guys know what gratitude is? It's like thankfulness. So if you were to think of 3 things every day that you're thankful for, this is a perfect solution to help you think more positively. So I'm going to pick on people. Can you raise your hand and tell me something that you're thankful for today? Oh, I thought you guys would have a lot of hands up. I heard the first part. Can you say the second part? Okay, waking up to a new day. That's beautiful. Yes. Having a place to live and having parents. You gave me 2 things. Yes. Thankful for your parents. Very good. God giving you another chance to improve yourself. That's in the advanced category. Yes. Say that again? Your parents give you motivation. Excellent. Family? Food? Oh, yeah. Your grades? You're thankful for that? Yes. Someone in the back had their hand raised? Oh, okay. The food or the grades? Okay. You guys came up with good ones. Who else has some? Oh my gosh, I feel you. Which subject test? Okay, she said not having to worry about the SAT subject test. You're going to have tests in the future, but I'm glad you got over this hurdle and you're thankful for it. Say that again, CD? No, I want to hear you. Thankful for In-N-Out. You will not realize how thankful you are for In-N-Out until you move to a state that doesn't have In-N-Out. My sister lives in New York. Every time she comes, she has to have In-N-Out because she doesn't have it. Education, very good. Any others? Good friends, very good. Weekends, yes. Too soon for you to be dreaming about weekends, though. Anyone else? These are all really good ones. There's nothing you can say that is a wrong answer. And keep these things, I'm going to come to you. Keep these things in mind when you're praying, when you thank God for things. Okay? But remember, at least 3, even when it's a horrible day. Thank God for something. Okay, you're thankful that you go to church? I didn't hear the second part. Oh, okay, maybe one day you will. He said even though he's never dressed as deacon. Oh, not today? Well, there's liturgy tomorrow. Lucky you. There is another hand here. Take you to private school? Yeah, that is something to be thankful for. That school ended. Yeah, I'm with you. So we talked about gratitude journals. We're going to finish shortly. If you guys have any questions during the Q&A session, you can raise your hand and I'll call on you. Or there are papers up here if you guys need people to pass out papers. Yes? Yeah, that's a good question. Run away? I'm kidding. So if parents aren't positive and you can't avoid them, you can do one of 2 things, one of which I already addressed, which was you need to focus on yourself and what you can do and your value in Christ. As for your parents, maybe you need to seek counseling, family counseling, that's an option. Another thing is to try to have an honest conversation with parents. Try to communicate with them. I know some parents are more closed-minded than others, but open that line of communication. Okay, so it kind of goes in a circle where people just yell at each other. And I think, there is a struggle to be said that our culture struggles with communication. Our culture struggles with, positivity and focusing on productive things. I would say to you, though, try to open those lines of communication, get a professional involved. Don't call Abuna in the middle of the night. He needs to sleep too. But if it comes that bad, seek counseling. I'm a family therapist. I see families all the time. All the time. And I help them through these things. Even like the most stubborn dads and moms. You know, we get through them. I know you're like, yeah, right, you haven't worked with my family. You don't even know. I have an idea. Does that address your concern? Was there something you wanted to add? Sure. Is it related to this slide? Sure. Can I answer that at the very end of the presentation? Sure. Can you just remind me if I forget? Thank you. So challenging negative thoughts. Remember the slide that had like, you know, I'm not good enough, I'm unlovable, I'm boring? Challenge those thoughts. Try to think of where is the evidence for that. And you're like, Christina, that's so easy. My dad tells me that every morning. And that's when I want you to truly ask yourself. And then ask loved ones, ask your Sunday school servant, ask a teacher, ask a friend, hey, do you think I'm unlovable? Chances, huh? Well, you need to talk to someone you trust, someone that you know is going to give you a good answer, and someone that actually knows you. And there's a reason you're questioning it, because you have a feeling it's not true, but someone on the inside is telling you it is true. So you need to challenge that. So you need to play investigator and go find out. Does that make sense? Okay. Improve relationships and communicate with adults you trust, kind of like I just said. And then reflect on positive experiences and accomplishments. So yes, you're happy to be done with Chem SAT 2s, but, you know, reflect on positive experiences. What was a positive experience in that process? You learned chemistry, and that might help you in college, right? So what now? We're reviewing, because we're almost done. What do I do if I'm being bullied? Remember we went through that slide? It's right here. If that's still on your mind, if that's a question. Remember, be brave, be assertive, speak up. If you see it happening, stop it. Have good body posture, ignore if you need to, take another route online, don't respond to it. Block them. Tell an adult, again, parent should be up there. What do I do if I have low self-esteem? Remember we talked about that right here? Knowing your value, creating boundaries, surrounding yourself with good people, reflecting on positive experiences and accomplishments. Do you guys have a good idea now on like what you could be doing differently or how you can view yourself differently? That's like so not convincing. Truly. Is anyone like still confused? Like, I don't know how to improve my self-esteem? No? Okay. And then there was one, I need to talk about accessing services. What do I do if I feel sad, worried, suicidal, or I can add having family problems and I feel hopeless about them? It's okay to see a counselor or a therapist. It is okay. It doesn't mean you're crazy. Doesn't mean something's wrong with you. Okay? Seeking a professional to assist you with this is important. That doesn't mean calling me and say, hey, I got your number from my Sunday school servant, because I'm just going to tell you the same thing I'm going to tell you now. Each of you has an insurance card. Medi-Cal, Cal Optima, Anthem, Blue Cross. Some of you may have no idea. You could call the number on the back of that card and request a therapist. You guys are entitled to those services. If you don't have insurance, there are other ways to access services as well that we could talk about one-on-one if you'd like. And it's okay. Tell your parents that you want to talk to someone. Oh, Fie, why didn't you tell me? Let's fix this. Let's call Abuna. I'm going to tell your priest today, hey, I told the kids to go to seek counseling if they need help. Refer them to counseling. Refer them to counseling. It's okay to seek counseling. Completely fine. Okay? Insurance card? Call the number, make an appointment with a therapist. And you'll talk to someone similar to myself, to my background, and they'll help you through whatever's going on. And they're really nice usually. I'm a little tougher than the rest of the therapists. That's just my personality. Okay, so we talked about that. There was one question I couldn't answer though, the ones that were sent to me. And what date are we going to Boomers with the church? I don't know. But I wanted to address it because, just to be fair, that question was asked. So whoever asked that question, ask your servant. So I'm going to answer your question, and then I'll open it up to a few other questions. What's the difference between ego or pride and self-esteem? Ego and pride is thinking that you're better than anyone else, that you're better than, or that you have too much of yourself, and you're not giving that room for God to work in you. Healthy self-esteem is seeing yourself as capable with God's help. Ego is capable without God's help. Ego is commonly referred to as pride, where we think we can do whatever we want. One thing I wanted to add that I should have added earlier, if you're being bullied or struggling with self-esteem, anxiety, depression, any of those things, it's okay to take that to God in prayer. I don't know what your prayer lives look like, but I would encourage you to each at least spend a few minutes. I'm not going to say like 25, 30, 1 hour, 2 hours. I'm not going to quantify a number. Spend some time with God each day so that he knows your heart. So that when you go to heaven, he's like, hey, I remember you. Not, oh, what? Like, have we met? You don't want to have that awkward encounter one day. Build a relationship with Christ. That's okay. Bring these things up in prayer. Say, God, I'm really struggling with self-esteem and I don't know how. Maybe send people in my life to encourage me. Talk to God about it, and you will get an answer, provided that you read your Bibles and you're serving in whatever capacity you can serve in. Do you guys have other questions? Yes. Take it easy on me. Dealing with bullies in the church. Were you here the first